welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. Today's Sunday, so it's our pricing video where we look on eBay from this past week at CGC 9.8 comic book prices. And I always say this is probably the best thing you can do just to become a better comic book collector and investor, is to pay the right price for your books rather than overpaying, obviously. So yeah, let's get right into it. A lot of cool books sold. I have Amazing Spider-Man 252 sold in the CGC 9.8, and I have a really nice one. A Wolverine number 8 sold in the CGC 9.8. A lot of cool books. All the prices I mentioned here are going to be in US dollars. Just, did a quick completed listings search on eBay to get all these prices. And I'll have a list in the description below. I find a lot of times when I watch these videos, I'll have the list in the description open and I'm just looking at the list rather than watching the video and just kind of hearing me talk about the issues. I find that the best way to watch it. So list in the description. Okay, let's get right to it though. The books today, Wolverine Limited Series, number 1, really cool Wolverine book, his first Wolverine solo title. One of those went for $276. CGC 9.8 in a new case. All these prices are CGC 9.8 books, which we focus on here on this channel. Mostly from the 80s and 90s, these books too, and that's what we focus on at this channel. Amazing Spider-Man 252, just like this one. It was a direct version like this one too, the exact same thing, new case. One of those sold for $535 on an auction. It's good looking Amazing Spider-Man 252, very similar to this one, very nicely centered, got some good colors on it too. And yeah, I've even kind of thought of throwing a bid out there, but I'm kind of waiting for a newsstand version of 252 to kind of show up in an auction, and maybe I'll throw a couple bids at that. So Wolverine number 8, the other book that I brought out here, super cool Wolverine and Grey Hulk cover. Wolverine number 8, 2 of them sold this week. One was $117.50 and one went for $119.50. And I think these are really good prices for this book. If you see these books, Wolverine number 8 in an auction, you can maybe throw in a bid of like $130 and win it for $117, $119. That I think is a great buy. Mine I bought about 6 months ago and it ended up being about $160. So yeah, I ended up paying about $40 more. And I remember that book, and it was one I was hunting, and I hadn't really seen an auction kind of pop up. They were all kind of completed listings. Or fixed priced auctions, like buy it nows. So when I saw that, I did kind of remember I bid, I think, $205 just to make sure I won it 100%. But yeah, now I've seen a couple more kind of pop up lately, and 2 last week, and both going for just under $120. I think that's a really good price. Next book is Ultimate Follow number 4, First Miles Morales. In the first print, saw one of those go for $405, and yeah, that's sort of the range that you get with that book, anywhere from like $350 to $450, I would say. This one was, straight up auction. Book looked really good, new case. So yeah, $405. I think grabbing an Ultimate Follow for closer to $350 would be a really good buy. And that's actually a book that I've considered bidding on, and probably down the line will, because, first new Spider-Man is just such will probably go down as being such an iconic issue. And I know my little nephew just loves Miles Morales too, and he's 4. So Uncanny X-Men 221 is the next book. First Mr. Sinister, just at my Comic-Con, I bought an Uncanny X-Men 239 and was talking about how I think it's a way cooler cover than 221. But a nice 221 in CGC 9.8 went for $202.50. And that's about the price you see for that book. Sometimes it's a little bit below 2, and every now and then it'll kind of creep up to maybe even $230 if the colors are really nice and super centered. But yeah, you see quite a lot of Uncanny X-Men 221s, but a really, First Mr. Sinister, wish it had a cooler cover. Otherwise, I'd definitely have that book if it did have a cooler cover, because I love Mr. Sinister. The next book is a Batman 567. So this is the first Cassandra Cain. I had unboxed my Batman Legends of the Dark Knight number 120, which is first Cassandra Cain in the Batgirl costume. This is the other issue that goes kind of hand in hand with that. This is first appearance of Cassandra Cain, first new Batgirl. Batman 567 went for $201.50. And a couple of weeks ago on a pricing video, one went for $189. And it was a buy it now, and the seller had listed it like, hey, I'm pricing this very competitively, like at $189. Most of the time you see this book priced near $300 or even over $300 for First Cassandra Cain. There's only 100 and something on the CGC census. 201.50 is what this one went for, and actually I bought this one. So this is a companion book to, again, that Batman Legends of the Dark Knight 120. And 201.50 was a bit of an overpay. I think I bid 206. So yeah, somebody was still bidding over 200 for it. So good looking copy too, new case. So excited to get that one in. Next book is a Batman Harley Quinn. First appearance in DC continuity for Harley Quinn. One of those went for 300. And this one looked really good in the cameras, in the pictures. And every now and then you might see that one go for like 280, and every now and then you might see it go for 320. So, and that's in our past pricing videos, we documented that. So 300, kind of right in the middle, really nice one. I think it was from a lesser known seller, but still looked really good in the pics. Next book is an Ultimate Spider-Man #1. And one of these in the CGC 9.8 went for $133.53. I think that's a really good price for Ultimate Spider-Man #1. I like that book. I like Ultimate Spider-Man. I like the style of, just the inking and the art of Ultimate Spider-Man. So if you're a fan, yeah, $133 for, Ultimate Spider-Man #1 in the CGC 9.8. That's a good price, I think. Amazing Spider-Man number 654. This is a 2011 book. It's when Flash Thompson becomes Venom, so kind of like a first new Venom, I guess you could call it. One of these went for $159, and pretty cool cover with a scorpion on the cover. So yeah, that's actually, that's certainly a book to kind of keep an eye out and maybe look for an auction and try to get that, a little bit. Obviously, one went for $159. Maybe try to get that for like $139, $129. I think that's a really good buy actually, because. Kind of first new Venom, I guess. Who knows if down the line at some point, if there's going to be more Venom movies, they might switch from Eddie Brock to Flash Thompson. Who knows? A Batman 475 went on an auction, and that's a book that I just unboxed. Maybe 2 videos ago, I think it was. First, Renee Montoya, who's a Gotham City detective, and I kind of talked on that video that I paid $100 for it, and I mentioned in the video that, if I waited for an auction on this book, which probably would take quite a while to be patient and really be on top of the search results, I could probably get this for like $75. I'm not sure exactly what I said in the video, but so paid up basically $25 to kind of get it now. One on an auction went last week. I was kind of surprised to see it because you don't see these too much. Batman 475 for $73. So kind of what I said sort of happened. I could have paid $25 less if I just waited for an auction, and just so happens that the auction was literally a week after I had bought it. But sometimes it works out like that, and that's okay though. Super happy. Actually, this one wasn't really centered very nicely. Mine's centered way nicer, so in that respect it looks a lot better too. So I probably wouldn't even have bid on this book, to be honest. The centering was quite bad, and you can afford to be picky with like 90s books on centering and stuff like that. An Amazing Spider-Man number 325. This is a McFarlane and Captain America Red Skull cover. I'm sure you're probably familiar with that if you know the era. I didn't know it would go for this much though. This issue went for $218.50. Every now and then you see like Amazing Spider-Man 316, that really cool Venom cover. That'll go for like $250, $260. So this is $218.50 is kind of approaching that. And, not really a key issue. I didn't check on the census. I did not check on the census for that book, though. Maybe it's a little bit rare on the census. Or maybe just, McFarlane doing Captain America and Red Skull is just that popular. But $218.50 for just, no key issue, no first appearance or anything. Just a really cool McFarlane cover. Next book here is Blade the Vampire Hunter #1. This is the first solo Blade book. And I think it was like from 94 or 95, I believe it was. Pretty cool. I never saw it, and thought it was pretty neat to see. First solo Blade comic for $198.50 sold. $198.50. I think that's actually a pretty good stab. Like, I'm sure you could buy this for $198.50 and then throw it up for $300 when like the Blade show premieres or whatever it might be, and it'll probably sell right away. But I mean, if not, it looks cool cover. It was like the Return of Dracula on it. Looked pretty cool. Next book here is Batman Beyond, the Origin issue. So, you know, kind of in my Batman Beyond videos, I sort of recommend to just buy the #1 first print, not the Origin issue. They look the same, they got the same cover. The Origin issue just doesn't have like a UPC code in the bottom corner. So one of these on an auction sold this Batman Beyond Origin issue for $130.03. And yeah, in general, the Batman Beyond #1 in the CGC 9.8 is like double the price or even more. So yeah, I think that's the one you want if you want to get like first Batman Beyond in comics, first Terry McGinnis. But if that is out of your budget, the Origin issue could, you know, $130.03. I don't see too many of them, so but definitely less price than what the Batman Beyond #1 was, which, yeah, I kind of wanted my Batman Beyond #1s like pretty quick, so I ended up paying like $350 to $400 for them, and I think, yeah, one of them I paid $450, I believe it was, kind of all in, I guess. What is next book here? Batman Shadow of the Bat #1, first Victor Sass, and one of these went for $80. And yeah, you kind of see that book go from like $80 to $100, and that's really cool kind of Batman book with a first appearance that is, you know, if you're on a budget, that's I think a really good book to get. And there's like another one in that sort of ilk is the first Azrael, the I forget what it's called, but that's usually about $80, first Azrael. So, you know, another Batman book where you get a first appearance for about $80. This is a really cool book. I kind of wish I saw it because I probably would have tried to buy it. A Detective 523 is a first Killer Croc cameo, and a really cool Solomon Grundy cover, that like yellowy brown Solomon Grundy cover. One of these sold for $250, and I think on one of our pricing videos like months ago, one of these sold for that price as well, I believe it was. I would pay that price for this book in a CGC 9.8. I have a CGC 9.6. That's one I sent in myself. That was like I sent about 11 books to CGC throughout my whole collection, and one of those was a really nice Detective 523. Came back a CGC 9.6, white pages. Really nice book though. But I do want a 9.8, and probably would have paid $250 if I saw that last week, but I didn't. And last book here is Young Avengers #1. Really popular modern book. Really cool cover. Young Avengers #1. One went for $294.95, and that's near the higher end of the range. I've seen a lot of CGC 9.8s go for like $250. I think I've seen some go for $225 even, and there was a CBCS 9.8 I remember going for $200. But CGC 9.8 went for $294.95 in Young Avengers #1. And that, you know, I'd be patient on that book and try to get it closer to $2, but it's a really cool book. I think that's actually, it's really popular. I've noticed that, and yeah, I think just as far as getting a lot of first appearances, really cool cover, and because the Avengers movies have been so popular, it's kind of riding on the coattails of that too, and you have a whole generation growing up loving the Avengers, so I think that could be a really good one as far as like a modern book. But that's the last book. Young Avengers #1 went for $294.95. Yeah, check out in the description below. I have, again, the whole list of all the comics with all their prices. But yeah, I always say staying on top of the current market prices for these books is the best thing you can do. And if you're really patient and you wait for an auction to come up, then you're going to know sort of a general price range of what you should pay for that comic. And that's how you're not going to overpay. You know, be patient, and then wait for those auctions, be patient, and be knowledgeable about the prices. And that just, you know, if you know, once a week you can, every Sunday we do the prices here, you can watch this video, stay on top of the prices, and that would work. Or do some research yourself, that works as well too. But if you haven't already, please join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8. And when you press subscribe, the bell comes up. If you hit the bell, get all our kind of latest notifications and all that. We're doing about 4 or 5 videos a week, I would say here. So, but that'll be all for today's pricing video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.